On this week's show, should fans be losing sleep over Carey Price's recurring lower body injuries? Yes, the answer is yes. But that's just my opinion. Stay tuned to find out what the experts think. This is Hockey Inside Out. Welcome back to the first episode of 2019. I am Adam Susser, and I'm here with, who are these people again? Oh yeah. We got Stu Cowan here from the Montreal Gazette, CBC Daybreak, Jessica Rusnak, and Chris Nilan from the NHL.
What I want to know is who are the experts?
It's you, Chris. No, you're being modest.
Okay.
You're one of them. There was nothing that was more universally mocked at the end of last season than Marc Bergevin blaming the team's disastrous year on their attitude. But after trading away Max Pacioretty and Alex Galchenyuk for a group of optimistic hustlers, let's call them, and then drafting the smiliest guy in the NHL with their third pick, the team has a better attitude, and their play has exceeded everyone's expectations. So, the biggest surprise for me during the first half of the Canadian season was that Marc Bergevin was right. The team did have an attitude problem, and he fixed it. What has been the biggest surprise for you during the first half of the Canadian season this year?
Does that mean you get into Bergie's Buddies fan club on Facebook? Is that a pitch for that?
Keep sending the requests, and we'll see. Maybe he'll watch this and he'll see that I'm kind of on his side now.
Well, there's one person who would know about an attitude in a locker room. What do you think, Knuckles?
Well, it has changed, and he was right. It was a bad attitude, and it started with the captain. I mean, Max, when he wasn't scoring goals, was down all the time. Things weren't going good. You could see him mope around. Some games he's on, some games he's off, and that just trickled down through all the players in the room. And I'm sure there were other things around that team that were distractions that we never heard about. So, you know what? The group of guys they have in the hand now, the leadership core from Weber, Gallagher, Byron, Domi, guys that go after it, guys that want it, guys that kind of drag other guys into the fight. And that's what I like to see. And it's about time they get this thing turned around in the right direction. And Marc Bergevin does deserve credit. Listen, he's made some mistakes. There's no question about it. I think he'd be the first to admit that. And
you think he would be?
Yeah, and he has by some of the deals he's done lately, putting guys on waivers and Schlemko and Alzna. He knows those were mistakes, but he did those things out of desperation. I mean, they didn't draft well. They didn't have players in the pipeline. They weren't getting anything from the American Hockey League team. And you're seeing it now. You're seeing the drafts they made. You see the guys in the World Junior that they drafted that look good. This thing has turned around. It's a credit to him, all the crap he went through. He put himself through a lot of that crap by some of the moves he made, but he certainly got this thing turned around. I'm happy he has.
Well, I asked Bergevin at this news conference what the biggest surprise or most pleasant surprise to him was, and he said Tomas Tatar. And I have to sort of agree with him. Tatar, he got traded from Detroit to Vegas, didn't work out in Vegas, was a healthy scratch through most of the playoffs. When he made the Pacioretty deal, Bergevin said Nick Suzuki was the key to the deal. It wasn't Tomas Tatar. But Tomas Tatar has come in and really impressed me. Just he works his butt off. He really works hard. He's tenacious on the puck. He's got offensive skill. He's been putting up points. And to me, I'll agree with Bergevin that he's been a real pleasant surprise among many pleasant surprises, including Kotkaniemi, and the list goes on.
For me, it's their ability to come from behind and win games. How many times last year that you just knew it was the first period, they were down by 2 goals, and the game was done at that point, that they didn't have that fight attitude. And I think it has a lot to do with the players that Chris named, guys that won't quit, Max Domi, having Shea Weber, Brendan Gallagher, Paul Byron, and those guys really sort of pushing their other teammates to say, you know what, we're down in the game, but we still have 40 minutes left. We still have 15 minutes left. Let's keep pushing and see what happens. And they've been able to get the results and win games, and then that leads to confidence, and that could build to more wins in that. So for me, it's the come from behind wins that have surprised me.
Not to jump all over Pacioretty, but my lasting quote from Pacioretty last season was in California earlier in the year when they were struggling, and he said it's hard to be a leader when you're the worst player on the ice. And that's when you really need to be the best leader. Like when you're not playing well, that's when your leadership needs to step up. And I think, as Chris said, I think that was a problem last year.
It's not jumping on him. It's the truth, though.
Max would get down on himself, and I think it would bring down the attitude in the room. And I still think when Marc Bergevin acquired Shea Weber, he should have made Weber captain right away, even if it was going to piss off Max. Just say, Shea Weber's our captain.
I feel like a part of Max Pacioretty would have appreciated the pressure taking off him if
I asked him that question, and he got upset with me when I asked him on Michel Therrien. He got really upset with me for even asking the question. But I think at that point, management had to step in and make the decision for him.
This is the situation.
I would think with that attitude, you'd know internally that you're just not fit to be a leader if...
Not necessarily. I mean, if you made the captain and they come to you and say, listen, we don't want you to be captain, we want someone else.
And the teammates voted him captain as well. So.
Okay.
When they did it to Joe Thornton.
I'll agree with you.
They did it to Joe Thornton in San Jose. It's been done.
People have a certain level of maturity that they can,
Yeah.
Anyways, what was the biggest disappointment for you during the first half of the season this year?
I think we'll probably all be similar. Here's the power play. They just can't find a way to fix it. They've tried many different ways or spent so much time at practice working on it, and they're not able to find a way to fix it. And it's just mind-boggling because they do have the players there that can be deadly on the power play. And it could be a really big difference in a game. You'll look back at the end of the season and say, you know what, how many games could they have picked up points if the power play was clicking there? And it takes away momentum, too, that you could see the players getting frustrated with it when they go out on the power play, and the other team looks like they're the ones on the power play. So that's the biggest disappointment for me.
You see them before practice, after practice, during practice, and Brassard working on it constantly. Claude Julien is very rarely on the ice with them. He leaves that to his assistants, Muller and the others, and Ducharme, and even Luke Richardson's out there. But maybe they need a new voice for the power play. And I think back to your buddy Guy Carbonneau when he was head coach of the Canadiens. They had an awesome power play, and I'm wondering if maybe you bring Guy Carbonneau in for just to get a new voice, somebody, because whatever they're doing now, it's not working, and it hasn't been working for a long time.
Here's the deal. Claude Julien won the Stanley Cup with a team that was worse on the power play, Boston, back in 2011. They're the worst team in the league on the power play. I always say it can get worse. It can go from double digits to single digits. And my issue, listen, they don't have a pure goal scorer on the team, pure sniper, okay? The only guy they look to get the puck to is Weber as far as shooting. And the rest of the guys are playmakers down low. They overpass the puck. That net front presence isn't always there. They have a tough time getting in the zone at times, and when they do, they get pressed like I think no other team in the league does. If that puck is on the wall, they jump them right away as a battle that's down the ice. They have to simplify it. It's not only moving the puck, it's moving the puck and moving your feet, starting a rotation, and trying to break down that box. And then other times, you just got to simplify it as far as getting the puck to the point, shooting it, and getting to the net, getting gritty goals, everything got to be a beautiful goal. This nice pass across, empty net. It doesn't happen that way. You see most of the goals, they end up being rebounds. You look at Gallagher's goal, I know it was 5-on-5 last night, but that's the type of goal they have to score on the power play. They got to start throwing pucks to the net, getting bodies at the net. But that means guys who are willing to make the sacrifice of taking cross checks, getting hit, maybe getting a puck off the hand or in the face. And they just don't do it.
Well, there's
perimeter.
constant drop passes, too. The drop passes before getting into the zone. Like, hammer the damn puck in the zone and go get it. Like, how many drop pass, and they still can't get it in. Right. I mean, if that was working, fine, but it hasn't worked all year. Do something different.
It's an advantage to the other team when the Canadiens get a power play at this point.
Well, as you said, the momentum. It's a momentum killer for the Canadiens.
Tomas Tatar registered 2 more assists on Tuesday night. His points per game average is the highest it's ever been in his career. What has impressed you most about Tatar's play this year?
As I mentioned, I think his tenacity. Mm-hmm. He fights for the puck. He wins puck battles. He's got a little Brendan Gallagher in him. He doesn't back down, and he's quick. He's really quick. Those first 2 steps. First time I saw Tatar in the locker room at training camp, when they introduced him to the media, he was sitting on the stage where Claude Julien does his news conference. He was wearing shorts, and I couldn't believe the muscles in the guy's legs. It was like running back legs, and that was like, wow. And then when you see him on the ice, and you realize how powerful he is down low, his lower body, and I think that's really
that's it. His strength is obviously he can handle the puck, he can shoot the puck, but he got that strong legs, and he's so good on the cycle. He's able to grab the puck, he's able to walk off the wall and get a shot. I'd like to see him do it more. He has that strength. There's no quitting the kid. I loved him in Detroit. When I used to watch him in Detroit, I just loved the way he played. And then he went to Vegas. Obviously, things didn't work out. That was a difficult situation coming into a team who has it all going on. They're the talk of the league. All of a sudden, you come in and they're like, Okay, what are you going to do for us? And things didn't work out for him there. I'm so glad he was part of that deal. Throw in or not, he's been a welcome addition to this team.
Well, his ability to bounce back at that press conference you're talking about at the start of the year, he said that, I didn't have a good half of the year with Vegas, and I want to come back and show that I'm not starting to decline, that I'm still a valuable player. And a lot of players say that at the beginning of the year. Carl Alsner said the same thing, that I'm going to have a bounce back year. Obviously not the case. But Tomas Tatar, I think he takes great pride in being a player that can really contribute, and he's looking like that player that we've seen for many years in Detroit. So I think that his ability to follow up on what he said has been impressive.
Also, talking to him recently, he was telling me just how much he loves living in Montreal. He's really enjoying,
a lot of the European guys
really,
do, right?
He said he's living downtown. He really enjoys the walk around the city and the restaurants.
Why wouldn't you, huh? Tommy Tatar. Tommy Tatar in Montreal.
Marc Bergevin has an unwillingness to deal prospects at the trade deadline. Do you agree with his stance on rental players?
Yes. Why give up an asset, a draft pick, a future asset, for a rental player who may be here for the playoff run, if there is one, which I don't think there will be. And
Still, you don't think so?
Yeah. Listen, I think they're going to have a tough time at the end, size-wise, but I like what Bergevin's doing. He got this thing turned around now. Don't screw it up and go out and get some stiff for a month. Listen, would I love to see a guy like Panarin here? Imagine a guy like that, but I wouldn't want to have a guy come in here, give up a first-round pick for a guy like that. You got to have young guys now. It's a young man's league. You're pushing 30, 31, 32 years old. Boy, you're getting close to the door in a big way. Before, you used to be able to maybe push it. It's getting tougher to play in this league. It's a young man's game. He should not give up any assets, future assets, for a rental. I agree with him.
This year is not the Montreal Canadiens year. As you were saying, who knows if they are going to make the playoffs. They're kind of flirting with that line of being in the last wild card spot. Maybe they might go on a run and have a more secure spot in the playoff picture. But why, though? What are you going to accomplish this year? They're not going to be able to win the Stanley Cup. But maybe in a few years, if these prospects continue to do as well as we saw some of them at the World Juniors, then you can have a legit team. And you don't want to constantly be looking at, other players that you could have been on your team, and then you think, oh yeah, we got that guy for only about a month, and then he left. So I think it's really good that Marc Bergevin is realizing that he's going to play it safe here.
Yeah, as you said, this isn't a team that's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I think they still might get in the playoffs. The scoring started to dry up a bit. I think the win in Detroit was a huge win for so many reasons. With Niemi in goal, coming off 2 back-to-back bad games, I think that was a big win and shows why I think they might sneak in, but they're going to run into Tampa or Toronto or one of those teams in the playoffs. They're not going to.
Listen, I want to see them in the playoffs.
Well, I want, yeah. I
just think they're going to run out of some gas at the end. I think it's going to get tough on them. Losing games at home does not help your situation.
No, and this tanking, people talk about tanking. Try and get in the playoffs. You're a young team. You don't want that losing attitude. You want Jesperi Kotkaniemi, even if it's only one round of the playoffs, to experience what it is.
They won't give up.
Jeff Petrie, the reason he re-signed in Montreal is because he experienced the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what he's told me that. He says the playoffs, he couldn't believe the atmosphere in the city during the playoffs. That's why he didn't even go to free agency. He signed before that because of the experience of being in the playoffs. So if the Canadiens get in the playoffs and get eliminated in the first round, it's been a successful season for them.
I agree. Carey Price returned to the lineup last Thursday after not playing since December 22nd. He's going to be sitting out the All-Star game as a precaution. How concerned are you about Price's nagging lower body injury?
A lot of concern. This has been an ongoing thing. I think it's 4 times he's had a lower body injury now since November 2017. He's had chronic fatigue. He's had, he's not a young guy. He's 31 years old, and he's a lot of hockey on the. He's not as big now as he lost weight. Noticeably lost weight from last season, but he's a big guy. When he's dropping down to his knees and pushing across, it's a lot of weight he's moving around in there. A lot of these goalies are sort of skinny, they look like Gumby almost. Price looks like a football player. At least he did until this season. He's trimmed down. He looks more like maybe a triathlete now, but. There's a history of it, and the fact he tried to play through it for 7 weeks before. So it's not going to go away. It's not going to get better with age. So it's a big concern.
I think it's good that his play since he's come back has been really well. That it hasn't really seemed that you could be affecting that, saying, oh no, what's going to happen here. But I think it's the right move for him not to go to the All-Star game. Just take that time, rest. I wish the NHL would just give the players like Price and Ovechkin, they're always willing players to go to the All-Star game. They give their all. They make it fun for fans to say, you know what, you can have a pass this time. This is a unique situation. You get one get out of jail free card, and then instead of having to serve the suspension. But for Price, it works out well because they have back-to-back games, and he wasn't going to play one of them compared to Ovechkin, who's could possibly make a difference in a game that he has to sit out.
Yeah, you asked him that question in the scrum too. It was a great question. And he said, "Yeah, get out of jail." I mean, he has. He's gone every year. He's promoted the NHL. Same with Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
I agree. You should be able to make one.
Yeah,
point,
but they do it for one, and it just opens up a can of worms. It's a joke anyway. That game. I get it. Let's go and make the kiddies happy. Stay around. Listen. The injury. Yeah, there's some concern there. I'm just happy that Carey Price has come back and had a respectful season. He played some awesome games this year. Not many stinkers. I really like that he's back. There's a lot of pressure on this kid with the contract and all that. He certainly has turned things around. I do worry about it a bit because he is big and he goes up and down and pushes side to side and all that. This, for me, is more reason to protect him more, his teammates. Mm-hmm. I would like to see more of that, guys protecting their goaltender moving forward, especially with this injury.
I wonder if they should maybe give him more practice days off.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You see them in practice all the time. Practice goalies get a workout in practice. I mean, they face more shots in a practice than they do in a game. And I wonder if maybe it might not be a bad idea once in a while, just
tell them to go take the day off. Go have lunch with Knuckles. And
who's paying?
I don't know. I'll pay.
You can afford it.
I'll pay my share.
You can afford it.
Come on, I'm on this show. I can pay. I can take the whole team out.
Carey, the invitation has been extended, so let him know. Tweet at him. Does he have your number?
No.
Okay, well, then tweet at him. That's all the time that we have for this week's show. We want to thank you all for tuning in. What was the biggest surprise for you during the first half of the season? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you want to tell us your biggest disappointment, go for that too. I'm Adam Sesser, and we'll see you back here next Thursday.